Hi, welcome to Eric's Movie Corner. I'm Eric, and I'm here to talk about movies. Let's do it. Today, I'm going to be talking about the movie currently in the theaters, Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills is a direct sequel to the 2018 version of Halloween and also stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and Andi Matichak. It also has Nick Castle as the Shape. Also, James Jude Courtney comes back. I think the same as I postulated before. He might be the one that does all the action, since Nick Castle is getting up there in years. We also have Anthony Michael Hall showing up as a grown-up Tommy Doyle from the first movie. So that's pretty interesting. My thoughts on this movie are scattered, to say the least. I did not think this was as good a movie as Halloween 2018. There are a couple different reasons for that. Mainly is that the story is not nearly as strong as the 2018 Halloween. If you are a person who likes gore, you'll like this movie. There are some strong kills in this movie. Very violent, almost, I'd say they have a level of cruelty that was not present in the last movie. Michael Myers goes to town on some people in this movie, and it is brutal and disgusting, and gorehounds will love it. That being said, there are some issues with this movie, mainly with the story. I'd say the number one issue with this movie is they keep Jamie Lee Curtis out of it for most of the movie. Her character does absolutely nothing in this movie, and that's not what I wanted to see. I want to see Laurie Strode be in control of her own destiny. Also, there might be some thematic messages that the makers of this movie are trying to make that I don't think they did a very good job with. And there's also just some, any slasher movie that you get into, you're going to have some moments that don't make sense just from a real world logic perspective on, how slashers can kind of teleport from here to there amazingly. There's a little bit of that going on in this movie as well. I had some issue with the story. I'll get into it post spoilers. I would say I give this a mediocre review. It's right there in the middle. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I'm not going to say I had a horrible time at the movie because I didn't. Some of it was a lot of fun. But at the same time, there's that voice. I don't know if everybody has that voice, but I have a voice in the back of my head that while I'm watching the movie goes, that's really not a great way to portray that, or that's really not something somebody would do, or wow, the people in this movie are way dumber than people in real life. So, I am going to throw up the spoiler flag at this point so I can talk about some of those things. I would say if you're a Halloween completionist, you should go see it. If you like the last movie, you might like parts of this one. I will say that if you're strictly in this for violence and the slashing and the killing, then you would probably enjoy this more than somebody that's story-based like myself. I like to watch movies because I enjoy having the stories told to me, and this story I didn't find particularly compelling. So, that's that. Spoiler flag up. We're going to get into it right now. So if you haven't seen this movie and you want to, go see it before you watch the rest of this. The aspects of this movie that I did not enjoy are all story-based. There are some flashbacks in this movie to the original 1978 Halloween. I'm not saying the movie, I'm saying the date, because they kind of retcon some stuff in here with these flashbacks that I really don't find compelling or interesting in any way. They try and make more of a connection between some of the characters in the movie, and I don't think it adds to the movie. I think it's unnecessary and just added to the runtime without any additional quality to the movie. That's just my personal take. A lot of the movie is older Laurie Strode and older Frank basically laying in their hospital's beds going, remember when? And that's really not what I came to see. There's also an aspect in this movie of mob mentality. And while I do think that it might be an interesting thing to examine, through a movie. I don't think they did a great job of it in this movie. The people of Haddonfield are the worst vigilantes ever. They are completely ineffective, except for when they are after the wrong person. There were 2 patients from the mental institution on the bus that crashed in the previous movie that survived the crash, and they're going after the wrong one. They think it's Michael Myers, and it's not. You can tell because he's short and bald and terrified, whereas Michael Myers is tall and strong and confident. I really don't understand how people could have mistaken this person for Michael Myers. It's kind of dumb. And there is kind of like a morality tale about how mob justice isn't really great, but I don't think it's executed very well in this movie. To that effect, the climactic scene of this movie is when the mob catches up with the real Michael Myers and sort of takes him out. They don't take him out, though, because they put him down for the count. They put him down on the ground. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too logical for slashers. But it feels to me like, all right, you got Michael Myers. In the first movie, Laurie Strode stabbed him in the neck with a knitting needle, put his eye out with a coat hanger, stabbed him in the chest with a butcher knife. Loomis shot him 6 times.
I shot him 6 times. This guy, this man, he's not human.
And he got up and walked away. At the beginning of this movie, he takes out a bunch of firemen who see him coming. You can't be a fireman unless you are in very good shape. They have to do all sorts of training exercises, carrying all their gear because it's very heavy. So you got to be strong. And he takes out like 7 firefighters who have axes and see him coming, which, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen at least one of them get a good hit in on Michael, and they didn't. They all just got completely destroyed. Although some great gore, I will say, in that scene where Michael's taking out all the firefighters. He is unscathed. Like, not one of the firefighters does anything to him. So, given the fact that he's been stabbed, shot, lit on fire, and still hasn't died, you would think that this mob would be a little smarter about presuming that Michael is dead when they get him down on the ground. Honestly, if I was in that town and knew the legend of Michael Myers, which they all seem to do, because they're all chanting "Evil dies tonight," I would go so far as to dismember Michael Myers and set each piece of him on fire in a separate location. That's probably how I would approach it if there was this monster strolling through town murdering everybody who didn't seem to die of normal wounds. Decapitate him, chop his arms off, chop his legs off, throw him in an incinerator, and hope that does the trick, because just normal weapons don't seem to get it done. But the mob in this movie just kind of shoots him a couple times, beats him down with baseball bats, and stabs him in the back, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's done. So when Michael comes back to life and starts killing them all, it's really kind of like, you didn't see that coming? Really? And also the fact that all these vigilantes are still standing around him with their weapons, and none of them does much of anything to him, and he just slaughters them all. It's just like, all right, guys, way to go. And then, of course, we get a scene at the end of the movie where that's another thing they put in this story, which I was just like, what are you doing? This whole thing about how Michael Myers used to stand in his bedroom and stare out the window. It comes up like 3 or 4 different times, and I'm just like, who cares? But at the end of the movie, Judy Greer goes up there and is standing in his bedroom window, and somehow, because that house is an active crime scene, somehow Michael Myers gets past all of the police out front and manages to sneak up behind her and kill her at the end of the movie, which is a bummer, because she was starting to grow on me. I was enjoying that character, and now she's gone. So that's a huge bummer. So overall, I would say I get like when I put this on Letterboxd, you can find a link to my Letterboxd account in the description of the video. I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was good. Certainly didn't think it was great. So I think your mileage will vary on this movie depending on what kind of movie watcher you are. I know some people are going to love this movie. There are some people that love anything that has Michael Myers' name attached to it, no matter how bad it actually is. There are also some people that just will never be able to get into a slasher. Yeah, and those people definitely should not watch this movie. Overall, I gave it like 6 out of 10. It's okay. I'm not mad that I watched it. I might watch it again just to see if I can make more sense of things, but I don't think this is a movie that's going to end up in my disc collection as the Halloween 2018 did. So, those are my thoughts on Halloween Kills. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. You can also subscribe and hit the notification button to make sure you know when I post something new. Thanks for stopping by Eric's Movie Corner. I'll see you next time.